Morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday's webinar from Anicca Digital. You'll notice I haven't got the grandkids behind me today. I'm actually upstairs because it's a bit chilly in the house today. So I've gone and hidden in a very nice warm room upstairs because it's snowing outside and we've got lots of snow. So I'm going to welcome Katie, who's also hosting this morning.
Hi, morning, everyone.
You're in Lincoln, aren't you? So I'm guessing it must. I would have expected to be very snowy there, but
no, not where I'm living. It's just snowflakes this morning. It kind of rained away last night, so
oh, really.
Yeah.
And then Rachel, who's actually our speaker today. So Rachel, you're in Nottingham.
Hi, yeah, loads of snow here. I live next to a woods, so
oh, really?
it's all settled. It's really nice. But the roads are really slushy.
It sounds lovely. So we just used the first few minutes to get everybody logged in, and then we're going to hand over to Katie to the polls. But just for anybody that's new today, Rachel's going to be covering meta ads, which for most of you may or may not know, but that's Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger ads. And she's going to cover some really interesting aspects around audience targeting. Including a new type of ad as well, which I'm looking forward to. What will happen now is that Katie will do the polls and then we'll disappear, leaving Rachel to present to you. Then we'll come back about 5 to 10 or a little bit earlier if you finish a bit earlier. And then later on this morning, we'll send out the video. So over to you, Katie.
Okay, let's get going. So starting the poll now. Are you using Facebook meta ads? Not using them right now, need to learn more. Thinking about using them in the near future. Yes, using them, but I don't know enough about ads. And yes, using them at advanced level. Oh, one person is saying 100% at the moment, advanced level. But just waiting for some more responses now. Oh, bit of a mix. I thought it'd go that way. 36% need to learn more, not using them now. 18% thinking about using them in the near future. 44% yes, using them, but feel like they don't know enough about them. And 2 people, 11% are saying, oh no, it's moved. 9% are saying advanced level.
That's probably the Anicca. Well, I hope it's the Anicca staff. So,
well, but potentially yes. And then we've got another one, a quick one as well. So if you are using them, are you using Facebook? Oh, sorry. Let me go back. Technical hitch there. One came up. This one. What audiences are you using? Saved audience, remarketing, custom audiences, lookalikes.
And you can click more than one. And if you're not familiar, saved audiences is the sort of standard interest demographic. You know, you're looking for women interested in fashion aged 18 to 25. That's the sort of thing we mean by that.
That's my bracket.
I didn't know you were 25, Kate.
Oh, I wish. 100% at the moment on custom audiences. That's interesting, isn't it? Oh no, it's moving around. You're all tricking me. So 33% saved audience, 17% remarketing, 50% custom audiences.
Excellent.
So yeah, no one's doing lookalikes. That's really interesting, isn't it?
It's a big opportunity. The other thing is we've forgotten to mention that the handouts are available, so make sure you can get them. Okay.
I've pinned them to the top of the chat.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Excellent. Well, over to you, Rachel. We'll see you in about 50 minutes. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to make my screen full. So if you're asking questions in the chat, I won't be able to see them, but we'll cover all of the questions at the end. So if anything does come up, pop them in there and we can go back to them. Okay, there we go. So today we're going to be looking at custom audiences for your meta ads. And as Anne said, Meta is Facebook, Messenger, Instagram. They've had a change of name recently, and I think some people still are a bit confused or aren't sure what Meta is. So just to give you an idea, that's what it is. Just Facebook, essentially. This is me. I'm Rachel. I'm an account director at Anicca. I specialize in socials. I'm part of the social team. And there's a little bit about me on this next slide. There we go. So I've been at Anicca for just over a year and a half. I've worked in social media since 2013, and that is across lots of different brands, in-house and agency. So a really big, wide variety of clients. And this is my little dog called Crumpet. She is about 10 months old now. So this is obviously on the left is when she was really little and tiny and cute. And then on the right, that's her the other day. So she's a bit older now, but I love her. She's cute. And my favorite social media platform is TikTok. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's really engaging. The algorithm's great. You learn so much from it as well. So yeah, that's a little snippet about me there. And here's a bit about Anicca. So we're a digital agency. We cover lots of different services. Anne is obviously the founder of Anicca, which was established in 2007. We have 25 members of staff and 46 and counting clients. So we're very busy at Anicca. This is our team. I won't go into it too much. But yeah, they're a great bunch of people to work with, very knowledgeable and very, very technical as well, which is great because you get to learn from everybody. These are some of the services that we can deliver for our clients. So we do analytics, creative, paid media, PR and content, SEO, social media, and we do a lot of training as well. And we can also support with consultancy, strategy, technical support, that sort of thing. So if you are interested in any of these services and you aren't an Anicca client, please speak to Katie or Anne at the end for any more information. So these are some of the clients that we work with. Some big ones there, as you can see: NHS, Uber for Business, Automation Anywhere, Palex, Experian, and Eon. So big clients, which is lovely to work on. We also do work with smaller clients as well. So they do vary across our agency. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to start with an introduction to meta ads. So with our webinars, we often find that there's a big, broad mixture of knowledge and experience. So people who want to learn but haven't tried doing any sort of advertising yet. And then we find people who are like our peers in the industry who also know a lot about ads as well. So we like to start at the basics and then we include a bit of more advanced technical stuff. So if any of it does go over your head, don't worry, because there are more technical elements in here. Feel free to ask any questions, pop them in the chat and we can discuss them after. Okay, so the basic structure of a Facebook campaign looks like this. So you start off with a campaign, and then within that campaign, you'll build your ad set, and then within your ad set, you'll build your ads. So within the campaign level, that's where you set your objective. So what do you want to achieve with this campaign? That could be traffic, it could be sales, it could be video views. And then within the ad set level, that's where we identify the targeting. So who do we want to target? And then lastly, within the ad level, that's where you focus on the creative. So that's an overview. Today, we will be focusing on ad set level because that's where you build the audiences. So we're really going down into a really narrow niche. I just wanted to focus on something specific that people could really learn from today. Oh, there we go. Sorry, it's just repeated what I've said. As I've said, campaign is related to objectives, audience placements, budget and schedule within the ad set, and then you've got the creatives within the ad level. Okay, so the types of audiences you can use. We're going to go for an overview here. So we're starting off at the beginning. The first audience that you can use, and this is what a lot of people are familiar with, it is the most basic type of targeting that you can do within Facebook. So this is called a saved audience. You might also know this as interest-based targeting or demographic targeting. And essentially what you're doing here is you're creating a group of people who you think are your target customers. So you create these using demographic data, so like their age, their location, their gender. You add in their interests, so maybe they're interested in fashion, maybe they're interested in reading, and you can also select behavior. So what type of device are they using? Are they engaged shoppers? Are they mobile gamers? That sort of thing. So there are so many choices that you can select in a saved audience. And this, as I said, this is the most simplest way to build an audience. So a lot of you might be familiar with this sort of approach. You basically create these based on who you think your target customer is. So if you are a fashion retailer that sells women's clothes for, I don't know, let's say 18 to 25-year-olds, that is the type of audience that you might like to build within a saved audience. So hopefully that covers that. I keep pressing down on my keyboard, forgetting that it's not a PowerPoint. So these are some of the targeting options that you have within a saved audience. You can target by age, you can target by gender, location, and this is a big range as well. So this can be a continent or it can be a postcode. So there's big variety there that you can target with. Demographics, such as their job title, their school, their education level. You can target people by their interests, so the brands they like, the activities they like. Targeting the brands they like is also quite good, because if you have competitors that are like big retailers, you can also put them in there. So sometimes it can include your competitors. And also behaviors. This is what it looks like on the right. So it's a big drop down. The easiest way to build the sort of audience is to just search within the search box. There's lots of different categories in here, but actually what I found that it's more comprehensive when you search for keyword than when you like click the drop downs and go through it that way. It also comes up with suggestions when you search a keyword as well. So a lot more keywords come into your mind the more you put in. So that's a really good tool to use. Next up, we have remarketing. So remarketing is where you re-engage your audience depending on an action they have taken. So if somebody has visited your website, you can remarket to them again, say, hey, come back and purchase our product, that sort of thing. You can also remarket people based on if they've abandoned their cart. So let's say they were browsing your products, put something in their basket, and then decided they never want to buy it. So you can remarket to people in that way. You can remarket to people based on the time they've spent on your website, the percentage of a video that they viewed, or if they've engaged with a page, post, or ad. So this is just a small selection of how you can remarket. And we're going to go into these in a bit more detail later. But this is to give you an introduction to what remarketing is. And this works, if you look at this little diagram on the right. So a user goes to your website, they leave your website and forget about you for a little bit. They might be browsing other retailers, they might just not be interested anymore. And you send them an ad to give them an incentive or a reminder, or to keep your brand at the front of their brain. And then they click back on and they're back onto your site. So that's generally how remarketing works. These are warmer, like a warmer audience, because they already know you and they've already engaged. And these people are more likely to convert. So a conversion is maybe like a purchase or a lead or something like that. They're more likely to convert because they've already engaged. You already know about your product, they know about your services. Whereas a cold audience who don't know you, never heard of you before, aren't quite at that step yet to make any sort of purchase decision. Okay. Next up, we have custom audiences. So custom audiences are part of retargeting. We've just split them out to make it easier for you. So this is how you retarget people who have shown interest in your business or your product. This is a big list of sources that you can use here. You can remarket in a lot of different ways. So this little image that you see on the right here, this is a screenshot from Facebook. So this is actually what it looks like. When you're trying to build a custom audiences, these are the options that you have available. So you've got your sources. So that means your data. So that's your website data, your app activity, your customer list, so your customers' emails, catalog or offline activity. And then you also have meta sources. So these are sources that are within Meta, so within Facebook, Instagram, Messenger. These are actions that people take within the platform. So this could be a video view, this could be somebody engaging with your Instagram account or your Facebook page, let's say. We will go into these in a bit more detail and explain why you should use different types and what are the benefits and pros and cons of each. Then lastly, we have lookalike audiences. So these people are a new audience that look very similar to your existing customer. So what you'll do is you'll provide Meta with some sort of customer information. So this could be your website visitors. It could be your email list, let's say. So you put that data into Facebook. Facebook will then ask you, to what level do you want this audience to be similar? And you click on a scale. It goes from 1 to 10, 1 being very similar, 10 being broader. And once you've submitted that, Facebook will build an audience for you, and they will say, okay, these are new people that look and behave very similar to your current customers. Lookalike audiences are good. They used to be a lot better before Apple did the iOS 14 update, which we will talk about shortly. They are still good. They're still worth using and testing within your campaigns. And we've got some tips coming up as to how to get the most out of your lookalike audiences. So as I said previously, this is the bar chart that comes up. So you add your data in here. You select your region. So let's say UK, if you're a UK-based retailer. And then this is the scale. So 1 being very similar, 10 being more broad. It's very easy to do. If you know how to build custom audiences, creating a lookalike is far more easier than that. You use your custom audience and then you just do this step and then that's done. It's worth trying if nobody has tried it yet, or if you are trying it, let me know how you found it the last year or so, and if you've seen any changes from iOS. Okay, so we've covered the audiences. Now we're going to look at a basic strategy. So this isn't tailored. This is a generalized approach that a lot of businesses should take and will take towards their social advertising. So you've probably all seen this funnel. You see it across the board, don't you? So you've got awareness at the very top, then you have interest and consideration and conversion at the bottom of the funnel. So at the awareness, the purpose of this phase is to educate users on what your business is. So people don't know you at this stage. They are just in your target market. This is where you would run an awareness campaign on Facebook or a video view campaign, because you just want people to see your brand and to see your ad. You don't want them to take any action at this point. The next stage is consideration. So this is where we want somebody to click through to your website and learn about your product, service, or offering. So obviously, somebody clicking through to your website is showing a level of intent. They're coming there to learn more or to see what products you have. There are other ways to measure levels of intent. So a video view could be an indication of a level of intent. Somebody engaging with your post could be a level of intent. But the main one we use there is traffic and getting people to your site, because that's also very beneficial for remarketing, which is at this bottom phase here, the conversion. So this is where we want somebody to take a conversion, and a conversion can be lots of different things depending on what you want to achieve out of your advertising. So if you are a e-commerce retailer and you sell books, let's say, you want somebody to purchase your book. That's the key conversion that you want somebody to make. This is often done through remarketing because they're a warmer audience. That's the basic funnel. I'm sure you've all seen this sort of thing before. Let me know if anybody has any questions about that in the chat. Okay. So we're going to start off explaining what iOS 14 is, and how it's affected social over the last few years. So obviously iOS is Apple updates. There was an Apple update, I feel like it was about a year ago, maybe over a year ago now. It was probably about 2 years ago, I think, where it basically prevents you from getting tracked as easier as what you were doing previous to this update. So custom audiences and lookalike audiences have been a lot less reliable and impactful since iOS 14. The update turned off the identifier for advertisers by default, and now users are asked within the app if they want to be tracked or not. So you might have seen this screenshot on the right. You might remember seeing this, or you might have just seen it and not thought anything of it. By default, most people ask the app not to track. Understandably, because why do you want to be tracked across platforms and across the internet? Like I understand why people do this. So as of 2022, only 25% of people have opted in to share data. So this means that as advertisers, we have to look for alternative ways to target engaged users. It doesn't mean when people click ask app not to track, it doesn't mean that they won't be served ads. And I think that's a common misconception. What it means is that your behaviors won't be tracked and therefore you'll be served less relevant adverts. As somebody who obviously creates ads and runs ads myself, I selected allow because I thought to myself, like, I would rather see, I know I'm going to see adverts either way. I'd rather see adverts that I'm interested in. And by Apple doing this, I think it has made social media a bit less of an enjoyable experience for people, because a lot of people didn't really notice adverts before because obviously it was based on their interests and their behaviors. Whereas now you might see ads that seem a bit jarring in your newsfeed, or you think, why am I seeing this? Like you notice them a lot more. So the experience as a user on Facebook has probably declined as a result of this. So it has led us to be a bit more creative with how we build our audiences and how we find who's interested in our products. And a really quick, easy way to overcome this is by using Facebook sources. So we've seen this little screenshot before. We've got your sources up here, which are built with your data. And these Facebook sources are everything that happens in the platform. So there's no tracking that goes across platform here. This data is held within Meta. So therefore, this data is more reliable. We've seen some really good success come off the back of video remarketing and shopping remarketing. So if this is something that you've never tried, I would definitely say have a go at these. They're very easy to set up as well. This is, we're going into a bit more detail here, so I'll go into a few of these. The first one that we will look at is video remarketing. So this is a really great way to drive users down the funnel and determine how engaged your audience are. The more of the video that they watch, the higher level of intent they have. So when you're building this sort of campaign, you'll want to start with a video campaign, obviously, and you want to target new users. So these could be using a saved audience, or these could be using a lookalike audience. And it's probably best if you have capacity to do this. Obviously, creative teams vary and creative skills vary across businesses. If you could have a variety of videos that are focused on your specialism. So these could be different product categories. So you could have home, garden, pets, let's say, if you're like a multi-product retailer, or if you're a B2B business and you have different functions of your business, you might want to separate them out like that and use your new audiences to target and to only see. People who are interested in pets will only see the pet video. People who are only interested in home furnishings will only see that video, for example. So you start segmenting at the beginning. And then once people see these videos, you'll be able to have a look at your results and see how far people have watched their video. So let's say somebody who has watched a 75% of a video, 95 or 100% of the video, their interest is high. They have stuck around to watch a video on an ad. That's something we don't do too often. So these people must be quite interested. There's some things to be mindful of. So you don't want to use a really, really short video. Let's say if it's 5 seconds, you might not be able to rely on these figures as much, because watching 100% of a 5-second video isn't too much of a commitment. On the other side, you don't want to use a video that's too long. We've had it in the past where clients have sent over a 3-minute video because that's what people are used to making. People are used to making quite long videos, and we've had to go back and say, this is a bit too long. People won't watch this far. Can we edit it to, let's say, a minute or 30 seconds, 45 seconds? Because if you did use a 3-minute video, you won't be able to look at this as well as confidently as what you can with a shorter video. So somebody that watches to 100%, great. Like that's crazy that they've stuck around and watched a 3-minute video to 100%. But you'll find that people will drop off at 25, 50%, because 50% is still a minute and a half. That's still quite long to stick around and watch. So the level of intent can't be measured as much. So keep your videos between 10 and 30 seconds, I'd say, if you can. And when you retarget these people who have watched, let's say, 50 to 100%, it's probably best to retarget them with an ad type that isn't a video. So you probably want to use a carousel here or a single image. And this is because people are more likely to take an action with those sorts of ad types rather than a video. If you serve somebody a video, they will watch it, but it might be unlikely that they'll click through and convert. Whereas if you send them a carousel or a single image, excuse me, they will click through to your website. And obviously they don't have the distraction of the video. So try all that, see how it works for you. Next up, we have shopping retargeting. Obviously, this is only relevant for people who are e-commerce and they sell products through their site. So if you are an e-commerce retailer and you do sell products, you probably have a shop on your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed. So you can retarget people who have interacted with your social shop. So there's various levels of interaction that can give an indication of intent here. If you look at this little image on the right, you can see people who viewed your products, people who have viewed your products and navigated to the website, people have saved your products, people have viewed the shops page. So there's different levels here. People who have saved your products might show a high level of intent, or people who viewed your products and went to your website, that is quite a high level of intent. Make sure, whichever one you select here, make sure to send them a message that's relevant. So if you want to remarket to users who have saved a product, you might want to send a reminder like, hey, you saved this. Are you interested in this category? That sort of thing. They might have saved it and thought, okay, that looks nice. I'll think about that later. And I do this. I save stuff all the time and I do forget. So it's about re-engaging those people who previously did have an interest and might still have an interest. This activity will also remarket people who have interacted with your shop organically. So if you have like an organic social following that interact with your shop, these will fall into the retargeting. It's not just people that you've sent there via ads. So it encapsulates everybody that's engaged with your shop. Okay. Next up, we have social remarketing. Very similar sort of setup. As you can see, they all look very similar when you set them up through the Facebook sources. So you can retarget people who have interacted with your social post previously. These could be people who have liked, commented, clicked, shared one of your posts. They might have just visited your Facebook profile. So there's lots of different varieties of ways that you can target people here. This isn't a high commitment type. So I wouldn't expect somebody to directly purchase or convert after engaging with your social feed, but it is a way to drive them down the funnel. So you might want to offer these people a bit more information about what your company does and drive them down the funnel, as we saw in a few slides prior. Okay, so they were some of the most effective ways that you can use Facebook sources for remarketing. We're going to go into custom targeting now. So I'll explain a few different ways. These obviously are reliant on users' data and their behavior. So these might not be as reliable as what you might find with the Facebook sources, but trial it. You need to test everything. I think this is one of the most important things. You can hear this from me, and this information might not be relevant to your business because you need to figure out what works for you. So take this information, test it, and find out what works for you. So first up, we'll start with sequential retargeting. So this is where you offer, this is where you offer your audience who have already engaged with you the opportunity to see a number of ads about your business. So they come in a sequence. This is a really good sort of way to show your customer or potential customer the USPs of your business. So this is an example of one of our clients. This is one of the USPs. So free delivery when you spend £79, smaller orders from £3.99. So they see lots of different variants of USPs. Another one could be like payment options available. So they accept Klarna and PayPal. Another one is their returns policy. So These are really good snippets of information that you want to tell people to ensure that they fully know how accessible your business is or how easy it is to purchase through you. So here are some just details essentially of how you can set this up. So to begin with, retarget your website visitors in the last 4 days, and show them your USP number 1. So that could be free delivery. Next up, target website visitors in the last 8 days, but exclude website visitors in the last 4 days, and then show them follow-up message too. And you can go on and on and on, depending on how many different USPs you have. I'd probably say stop at about 3 or 4. These are really effective. Obviously, you're communicating some really important information to the customer here. Knowing about free delivery is a really good incentive. Knowing about the returns policy is a good incentive, obviously, if it's a good returns policy. So definitely try this one out. Next up, we can look at getting mobile users to desktop. So this, I wouldn't say this was really relevant for e-commerce. It might be relevant if you're selling big items such as like sofas or something that you actually take quite a bit of consideration over. So if your product is something with a longer customer journey or needs careful consideration, you might want to trial this audience. So a large amount of impressions for all of your ads will come from users on mobile, because naturally you do scroll on Facebook or Instagram on your mobile, don't you? But that might not be the right time for your users to actually convert. So let's say you're a business. Let's say I get these ads quite a lot. It's a social media scheduling tool, and I've seen it and I've thought, oh, that's quite good. That's actually a better tool than what we're using at the minute. But I'm in bed, so I'm just scrolling on my phone before I go to sleep. So I'm not going to take any action there. I'm going to think, oh, that's good, and scroll past and not think about it again. I might have clicked on it. But obviously I wasn't in the right place there to make any sort of conversion. So this is where you might want to retarget people when they're using desktop. So if I was to look at my Facebook during lunchtime, for example, and I'm on my laptop, that's where I'd be in the space of, oh, okay, actually, I can submit a lead now because I'm in the space. I forgot I saw that ad actually. Yeah, I'll do that now. So it's useful for that sort of consideration process. So when you're retargeting, you want to retarget people that have been on like a certain page maybe, and you want to select mobile devices. And then when you create your campaign, the next stage of this, when you create your campaign, set the objective as conversion and only target people that are using desktop devices. So this is how you would do this. It's probably most relevant for when you have big audiences. Let's say you were I don't know, you had quite a large audience, you were quite a big business. This might work quite effectively for you. If you're a smaller business, I'm not too sure if your audience will be big enough, to be honest. Okay. You can retarget users based on their time spent. So this could be a good indication of how interested the user is in your product. If you've not perhaps purchased yet, you might want to be learning a bit more about the company and the product offering. So it's a good indication that this user's come on, they've explored your website, but they haven't got enough information to make that conversion yet. So these people are obviously really highly interested in your business. And you might want to reach out to them to help them make that purchase. So you could reach out to them with an incentive. You could reach out to them to say, message us. We have a customer service team available 24/7. Because actually they might be thinking, oh, I don't know if this is relevant for me, or I don't know if I can install this piece of software. I don't know if I'm the right person, or whether this should be my manager who does this. They might have questions about this. So that's a good opportunity to reach out and try to engage with them to maybe take the sales process offline. So that's an easy one to do there. You can re-engage lost customers. So using a customer list, such as your emails. Obviously, email remarketing is something that people, most people do. It's quite an easy retargeting sort of tactic, but it is a good way to refocus people who have previously purchased with you and haven't purchased with you for a while. So maybe they've stopped opening your emails. You know that they're still your target market because they once bought from you. Why have they stopped opening your emails? Maybe they don't like email. Maybe they think your emails are spammy. They could still be your customers. So you could segment your email database to identify a list of users who haven't opened in, I don't know, you could say the last 2 months. You decide on that time frame for what's right in your business. You can export this list as a CSV file and upload them into Facebook. And you can attempt to re-engage them. So you could offer an incentive or recognize that it's been a while. Here's 10% off to get you back, that sort of thing. A lot of customers are becoming aware of like the sort of tactics you use. So feel free to say something like, we haven't seen you in a while, that sort of thing. I think it personalizes the experience quite a lot. They know that ad is for them. Okay, we have abandoned cart next. This is only relevant if you're an e-commerce business. Obviously, if you're like a business that relies on lead generation, that sort of thing, this obviously isn't relevant to you. This is people who have added to their cart but not purchased. Obviously, these people have really high intent. They were about to purchase, but something stopped them at that point. You don't need a big budget to do abandoned cart ads, because obviously hopefully the number is quite small. So you can be spending like £1 a day to capture this audience. You might also find the frequency gets quite high. So just keep an eye on that, because if you don't have a lot of abandoned carts, then these people will be seeing the ads quite a lot. So just be mindful of that. You could send an incentive to these people, or you could say, how about free delivery to get you over the line? This is something that is commonly done with a lot of e-commerce retailers to get people to finally make that purchase. Some people even put stuff in their cart on purpose to wait for some sort of incentive. So there are people that do that. I think this might be the last slide on these tactics. So lastly, it's dynamic remarketing. These are dynamic ads to promote relevant products to your customers who have visited your site. So it tracks visitors' behavior based on the Facebook pixel, and it builds an audience of visitors. And then dynamic ads will show ads that are personalized to each user, and it will show them products that they think are relevant to this user. So if you look at this example here, let's say I've been browsing, I've been looking for a new makeup product, let's say some mascara. I will be remarketed with an ad that will show me similar products. So nail polish by the same brand, lipstick by the same brand, cream. So you might have seen these. They're quite often, I see a lot from Amazon. I also see a lot from ASOS. So they come as carousels. So you might be familiar with this sort of ad. Okay, so lastly, we're going to talk about Advantage Plus. So we know that we have lots of different levels of experience within our webinars. If you've just looked at those last slides and thought, what the hell, I don't know how to do those, don't worry, it's fine. Facebook is trying to make the experience a lot easier, and Facebook is also trying to get people to rely a lot more on AI rather than setting up campaigns and audiences manually. And we've tried this on a few of our clients. Actually, we're seeing really good results from Advantage Plus. So it's something that I would encourage you to test. So Advantage Plus is like a campaign setup option that lets Facebook do majority of the work. So you will select what type of objective you want. So let's say you want purchases or you want website traffic. You don't do any of the audience setup. Facebook will find people that it thinks is relevant to you and will be interested in this ad and this product. It also doesn't let you do any of the, so it's automatic ad placement. So you don't select where your ads show. The only things that you do have some sort of control over is your date, your budget, and the creative that you put in. So it's a very easy setup. It's really good for people who aren't as confident in their ability within Facebook ads. And it does deliver good results. So there's pros and cons of this. You have less control, but if you aren't sure what you're doing anyway, maybe it's better to let Facebook do this for you and find people who are relevant and make purchases for you. So we have some pros and cons on the next slide of if you should use Advantage Plus or if you shouldn't. If anybody does Google Ads, I think it's quite similar to Performance Max. A lot of the tools are going down this route on relying on AI. And I think to myself, why would we question that? Why would we stop that? These platforms hold all of the information that we don't have any idea of. Why do we think that we're better than the platform? So it is something, I think about a year ago, there was a bit of hostility in our industry around this sort of like automated setup. But if you've tried it and it works and you're getting good results, I think you should embrace it. Well, I don't understand why you wouldn't. So there's pros and cons here. So it's very easy and streamlined setup. If you're not confident in using Ads Manager, at least it ensures that your setup is correct and you haven't done anything wrong there. So if the performance is down, it's not because of the way that you've set it up. So that's something to consider there. AI can potentially find more customers than a human with a strategy or tactics. Performance is generally good with Advantage Plus. And you can identify prospects who are interested in your products who you actually might not realize is your target market. The cons of Advantage Plus, so there's not much control around budgets, placements, or targeting. So if you were doing like a regular campaign setup, you can control the budget every day and turn on ad sets, turn off ad sets depending on the performance. But if you're not so familiar with that anyway, it's not a concern. You are unable to look at the breakdown of the performance like you would in a regular campaign. And you're unable to optimize the performance as the audience isn't segmented. So for somebody like me who manages ad accounts for clients, that can be a bit of a concern because you want to be able to explain to the client why things are working, why they aren't working, which audience is performing the best. So it's providing that analysis as to why your campaigns are or aren't working. Whereas if you're using Advantage Plus, you don't have access to any of that. So it's swings and roundabouts. If you're a smaller client and you have a small business, go for Advantage Plus, try it, see what happens. I think it's good. Okay, so the key takeaways from today, hopefully it was useful. So there's 4 key takeaways. Implement campaigns with the funnel in mind. Keep trying to drive users down from awareness to conversion. Make sure that you're running some remarketing, even if it's just website visits, because you could be losing out on improved results and obviously money or sales. Test. So try to use some Facebook sources for remarketing and see how they compare with your custom audiences. Don't presume that the current way that your campaigns are set up are the most effective. Test everything if you can. If you've seen some new stuff in here, give it a go and try it. And then lastly is to try Advantage Plus and see how that performs against your current setup. You might find it performs better than your campaigns that you've been running, and it might be best to rely on AI. So give that a go and let me know how you get on.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Now, there's quite an interesting question that I wasn't expecting was some people don't know the difference between Ad Manager and the types of screenshots you're showing. And maybe what they do is they go in via the page. So can you just, because that's got a different name, hasn't it? It's called Ad Center or something.
Yes, there's quite a few variations of this. So there's Ads Manager, there's Business Suite, and then obviously there's the ad setup through the page as well. So there are quite a few variations of this. You can switch to Ads Manager. So if you go into your settings on your page, there's like a question mark above. It says like give feedback at the bottom. There's a question mark above that, and you can select that, and it gives you the option to switch to Ads Manager, which are the same screenshots that you will see here. If we have clients that come on, so I've had this in the past where they have Business Suite, so it looks a bit different. The functionality is a lot more limited compared to Ads Manager. And I personally thought it was a bit harder to use and stuff was hidden. So we switched them to Ads Manager. It's easy to do. You can switch back to Business Suite if you want to as well.
There's also a bit of a hierarchy, because if you are you can go over to Business Manager, can't you? Which has got even more functionality. I was just seeing if I could find. We've got a blog on that. See if I could find the blog link. It looks like there's a bit of a problem. I'm struggling with the website at the moment. Yeah, we'll see if we can get you the link for that. I'm not sure if there's any questions in the in the chat. Let me find this link for you while you answer the questions.
No worries. I'm just going to look through them.
Yeah, somebody's asked where they can find Advantage Plus. I think if you're not in the Business Manager and you're not in Ads Manager, you won't find it. And where do you set up? Is Advantage Plus at like a new objective, or is it at the campaign level, or is it at the ad set level?
So it's at campaign level. So when you set up your ads and you get the option, a pop-up comes up and you get the option to select traffic, sales, that sort of thing. I think when you select that, the next step will say, do you want to use Advantage Plus? And then you go into build. Well, obviously you don't build the ad set, so it looks slightly different. So it's like an in-between the campaign and the ad set level, I think, from memory.
I was having so many technical problems, and actually my podcast pop-up has worked. So let's bring that across first, and then Katie can push across the ones. So I'm really pleased to say that we've actually the Anicast podcast is actually live. There's 6. The first 6 from January and the beginning of February are already on there. We've got another 5 to load, and then we'll be loading them on a weekly basis. So there's something between half an hour and an hour's conversation with myself and each of the guests. And then in one case, I'm the guest because I did my presentation and Matt acted as a host. So if you're interested in any of this, we'll be doing Rachel's in just a minute. That's where some of the detail is. And I think if you've got the webinar and the podcast, you get the best of both worlds. So hopefully some of you, and I've actually given the link to the Spotify. So let's just check that that's working okay. You should be able to go over to Spotify and sign up. Yep, that's working brilliantly. Cool. I didn't think that pop-up was going to work, so that's good news. So Katie, did you want to do the other 2?
Yeah, that's fine. Just going to do that now. So
there's another question in the Q&A, Rachel.
Yeah, I've noticed that one. Okay, it's quite a tricky one. It says the business I work for is a faith-based business. Meta has removed faith-based searches. I was using video views to a wide sweep of finding alternative relevant audiences. Is there any other way you can think of to find audiences which exist but are hard to target? Thanks.
I think the approach Sarah's taken is probably what I'd recommend. So doing a video with broad targeting and then using the video views, so 50%, 7,500, to determine which of those people are interested in that content. But yeah, I can imagine that is hard for you because all of that stuff has been removed to prevent like discrimination. I mean,
I think that's a really good approach because video views are so cheap. They're usually about 1 pence. The other thing is if you've already got existing clients, you can load up a custom audience and create a lookalike on the people that have already converted before.
Yeah.
And if you've already got a website and it's linked through, and you can do your converters in 2 ways. So you can do it through website remarketing based on the actual thank you page. But if you've got an external database with the last 2 years clients, you can load those as well and then look for a lookalike. And we were talking about this for a technical B2B audience as well the other day, weren't we, Rachel? Mm-hmm. I don't think you were on that call, Katie. You're saying how it was really difficult to target. I don't know if people from the oil and gas industry or something. And we were saying, well, if you've already got your target audience in converters, let's try and find more of them and let Facebook do the targeting. We'll talk about some of that this afternoon. In the podcast next. So obviously, if you catch up with that later.
I've sent the first one. If you're able to give us a review, I know Rachel always puts her heart and soul into all these things, and she'd be really grateful, for some reviews. And and there's this one as well. Obviously, also, it's International Women's Day this week, and there is a bit of internal competition. So she'd love a few positive reviews anyway. I've really enjoyed today. Thank you, Rach.
You're welcome. I hope it was useful to people.
It was. You get lots of
we've been talking a lot about.
We've
been talking about in quite a lot of webinars. We did this with Emil as well, and also Emil's podcast about the other ways of overcoming iOS 14, haven't we? But you didn't want to focus on that today because yours was mainly about audiences, and that's trying to get the conversion data back into the Facebook conversion API. But if you are interested in that as well, then there's lots of other places that you can find out more about that. Brilliant. Okay. Well, thanks very much, guys. We're doing something a bit different next week, aren't we, Katie? We're doing a showcase of each of the Anicca teams. A few of the teams are going to just showcase some of the stuff that they do for the best techniques that they use for helping people grow their business. So that's going to be an interesting one next week.
I know I pitched in that idea yesterday. I was talking to somebody about that, so that's good. I know there was a conversation about maybe doing something on NFTs, but I think
that's not going to happen now. We're going to
okay.
I think the one after next is probably going to be my one, explaining how we set up and built the podcast and all the info, everything you need to do to actually create your own podcast and launch your own podcast.
That's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, including all the
whole
artwork,
new scene, isn't it?
All the software and all the tech that we've had to invest in to make it work. It's not actually expensive. It's quite time consuming, but not particularly expensive. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody.
Really
Rachel, I'll message you in Teams about the podcast.
Cool.
Okay. See you all next week.